Here to take you a little behind the scenes of everything that was around our short film. For instance, let's start with how we planned this out. Actually, how we the lack of planning, I should rather say. I had sort of like an overall idea of the short films. I called some friends. They got over. They wanted to be in the short film. Awesome. Then we had one evening to work the details out, and then we went out to the field and practiced sort of where everybody's supposed to be, more or less. Where could the camera be, camera angles and everything, but we didn't actually get to write anything down. That's probably also why the short films seem a little like they're missing a clip or something. Simply because we actually only shot it in a day, and that's no excuse, but we didn't have a script. We just felt like doing it. Another thing is, some of the preparations we did is that I wanted an archer in the short film, but the only arrows we had were these larp arrows. This huge head here is gonna be, doesn't look very nice on film, doesn't look very realistic. Instead of using this, we had our archer goblin. He said and made these, which were our fake arrows. So basically a bamboo stick he said and cut out the evening before, and then he just used some tape to make the feathers. It actually turned out quite nice, except for the heads, but they're not visible that much, so that doesn't really matter. This, on the other hand, is freaking cool. On the day that we started shooting, we woke up and started putting on the makeup. Of course, we had this makeup kit, and we started applying the prosthetics on the goblins, which were these noses. In order for them to keep this the structure, so it wouldn't collapse or get some kind of or become completely deformed, we put toilet paper in them, so to sort of keep the same structure. And I think our archer goblin was quite happy for that, because he had a cold, and let's just say that when he opened up his nose, there was like snot, white, there was like this white snot pouring out everywhere. I was like, oh, just disgusting. Since we were this small team, we didn't want to bring all the makeup and water and paint out to the forest, so instead we packed this really small emergency toolkit. I brought this camouflage color, which is technically military, and that actually worked quite brilliantly, because it was a hot day we were shooting. So some of the paint, some of the makeup it was sweating off, or this was quite useful to sort of hide the clean spots. By the way, I can't tell you how happy they were getting their noses off. We couldn't have an extra guy on camera, also because our runner wasn't with us to begin with. So instead we had the small GoPro camera on a gorilla mount. I have mounted up in the trees, and then it could just sort of like look down on the whole scene, especially because GoPro have like this wide lens, so you can see almost everything. Now this is my road wheel competition, so we are of course also going to talk about sound. So I'm gonna stop the video here and unplug my microphone. Now the sound is probably a little horrible, and I'm very sorry about that. But we are of course going to talk about sound, so we need horrible sound to do it. We used the good old school video mic from Røde, which is how we pronounce it here in Denmark. We used the old school video mic with the dead cat on. And that was actually quite useful, because there was a lot of people around us when we were shooting. We were shooting like we were shooting on a holiday in the forest right over here, and there was 100 meters to a road one direction, and 100 meters to a dog forest in the other direction, and I was like small forest roads where people were walking all the time on both sides of us. So anyway, I was really surprised with the sound of this, even though we don't actually use much of the original sound. We did use this for all our Foley sound, which is pretty much everything. I used this, I set this up in my bedroom, so it could so some of the clothes and beds and blankets could absorb a lot of the sound, and then I just sat down with some stuff, some twigs, some leaves, apples, other crazy stuff to make some Foley sound. I think that was it. Now I want to go inside and edit the last parts so we can be finished for the competition for my road wheel. It's so nice weather outside. Anyway, go to my road reel, check out all the short films and choose your best